Okay. So to continue my story, so as the catering went on, and as I realized what I wanted to do was to be talking one-on-one and helping each person move through their special event, it less had to do with putting really fancy, delicious, elegant food on the table for them. So I started getting trained in other ways of working with people. In the meanwhile, I myself started going to energy therapists and holistic healers because 14 years later, still no babies and really trying. I also had really bad allergies, and I had really stressed out because we really were working sometimes 96 hours in 1 week. Because when you were doing 12 events a day, you had to be really busy. I mean, it was showy and fancy, and I got to work with famous people, but, it just wasn't the way to age gracefully. So I got pregnant after 14 years of trying, and the only thing I did was start working on myself from the inside out through energy work. And I went, oh, I get it. So I sold my business, and I full-time dedicated myself, not to just being a mom of one, but then of two, and full-time being trained at the energy work with the life coaching. Because to just do the energy work without the life coaching doesn't seem full spectrum enough. So that's my history. I want to ask you all a question. How many of you have had energy work done before? Raise your hands. Great. So I'm going to be speaking on both levels, so people that are not familiar will feel comfortable, but I'm not going to go into too much detail because I have a booth and you're welcome to come over for more detail. Okay, now, I'm sure most of you have learned about the 7 wonders of the world, right? The Taj Mahal, the Grand Canyon, we've all heard that, right? I'm going to let you in on a really cool secret. The real 7 wonders of the world we each have. It's our sense of taste, touch, sight, hearing. It's our sense of smell. It's a sense of able to laugh, and it's a sense of able to love. But we don't always access those. We think, what's the big deal with that? Well, if you really look at how we can change ourselves, how we can access those 5 gifts that we have on a daily basis and make it really practical, we have to think, what's stopping us from having health in our life? Well, it's our thoughts, it's our belief systems, it's the first thing that happens. But it's not just what we thought of yesterday. We may have inherited belief systems from our family. We may have belief systems from what school we went to. We may have belief systems because of events that happened to us. But we put that in as the truth and cannot be changed, And then we want to move into action. We want to get rid of those thoughts so we can move forward, so we can feel those 7 great treasures that we have. And before I start talking about the action, I want to describe a little bit more about what the treasures mean. So we know about our 5 senses. We all, smell and taste and touch. And that's how we experience the environment. So many of us experience, of course, allergies and tolerances. What are they really? I mean, we don't experience an allergy in our muscle. We're not experiencing intolerance in our heart. We're experiencing it through our 5 senses. Our tongue swells up, we can't smell because our sinuses are clogged, or our eyes water, or we get rashes on our skin. So an allergy or an intolerance is our way that we relate to our environment. So, there's a lot of ways that we can be blocked by looking at that as a gift. Then we want to feel more empowered, so we want to use our 5 senses inward. What does that mean? We've all heard about using our intuition. Well, what does that have to do with energy work and healing? Well, if we can learn to have a subtle sense of taste and a subtle sense of smell, a subtle sense of hearing and sight and touch, then we feel more empowered. Then we can start changing our thoughts and our beliefs. An example. So our ability to hear. We're in a room and we're hearing a bunch of people talk. But a subtle sense of hearing sometimes is not always hearing what the person's saying, but hearing what the space between the words are, where they're pausing or what they're not saying. That's being intuitive when you're listening. Because sometimes you're having a conversation with your family member, and you seem to be butting heads. We can't get anywhere, but maybe we're not using our five senses. So you can see that there's a lot more to develop than just, having a wide variety of pleasures in what we eat and what we smell. So what happens is we have our senses. Sometimes they're a little blocked, sometimes they're not. We want to know what intuition is, but we're not really sure how it's going to help us. We know that we have a physical pain somewhere in our body and we want to get rid of it, and we've been going to a doctor that our left knee's been bothering us, and they say, oh, you're going to need surgery, and you're thinking, I'm not sure I need surgery, and I don't even know why my knee hurts. So then you think, well, I wish I could check in and use my five senses to find out what's going on, but you don't even know how to do it. So here's where the action comes in. The action is, let's move through the blocks within our body, within our mind, within our emotions, within our spiritual connection, so we can use all aspects of ourselves to heal, to go back. And the way to do that is by listening to all aspects of us through what we call our innate wisdom, which is the part of our body that makes our heart beat and our food digest. We don't have to tell it what to do. Our ego doesn't say, okay, small intestine, start discerning between, the nutrients and the waste. It just does it. So we want, on a daily basis, to have better perspective so we feel that we have passion in life. And the way to do that is through our actions to move through and get rid of the block so we can use, now I said 7 senses. The trick is we really have, I guess that's 12 senses, because we have our 5 subtle, our 5 regular, and then we just want to enjoy life and feel love. I mean, that's what we all want. And so if we're riddled with high blood pressure medicine or allergies or night sweats or migraines or not doing well in school or not having a good relationship with our family, it's hard to sit around and feel happy and laugh and joyful, especially if we get tied up in listening to the news, which we should all turn off and do not listen. I promise. Anything really big that happens, someone's going to let you know. You won't miss anything, I promise. So in order to get the passion and to have the good perspective, and we have to do the action of the BodyTalk, so I'm going to pull somebody up now, and then help shift your belief systems. A way to remember it is TAP. So our thoughts and our actions, if we can shift them, will equal the perspective of our passion in life. Because it's really just how we view the situation. Just a simple example. So everyone viewed the world before Christopher Columbus as the world was flat. So every single belief system was based around the belief that the world was flat. That meant complete limitations, right? You go out on a journey, you fall off. Then somebody went, oh, that's not true, the world's round. Every single belief in everyone's life had to completely shift because of one simple belief system. So I think most of us do believe that the world is round now. Most of us still do, I think. So now, to go into a little more detail of the action part, my part that I can help you with as an intuitive life coach and energy therapist, I'd rather be working on someone so it's a little more exciting. So I'm going to ask for volunteers, and I'm going to pick in a really fun way. But I'm going to say anyone that has anything, it could be physical, it could be emotional, but you have to be willing to let me share a little bit. But I promise if it gets too personal, I'll whisper that part in your ear, and I'm really discerning. So anyone that would like to come up, be for about 3 minutes, raise your hand. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I'm going to do this in a muscle testing way. Okay. Which one raised your hands back there? Yes, you get picked. You get to come up. And what I did was, you're like, what? Why did I do it that way? Because, I would want everyone to come up. You get to sit down. And what is your name?
Stevie.
Hi, Stevie. I'm Donna. Is it okay that I worked on you? Yep. Okay, good. Do I need to move her over, or is it okay? All righty.